India is rapidly emerging as a key player in this global semiconductor and the VLSI industry. With increasing demand for chips, government support, and major investments in semiconductor fabrication, the country is gearing up to become global semiconductor hub. Let's explore on this in detail. India has traditionally been a consumer of semiconductors, but now it's focusing on developing its own semiconductor manufacturing ecosystem. The key drivers of growth include increasing demand for chips in consumer electronics, automotive, and telecom, government incentives and policy reforms, entry of global semiconductor giants in domestic startups, and lastly, availability of skilled workforce in VLSI and chip design. The current status of the industry would include chip design expertise. India has strong presence in the semiconductor design with companies like Intel, Qualcomm, Broadcom, and Texas Instruments having design centers in Bengaluru, Hyderabad, and Noida. Secondly, lack of fabrication facilities. While India is the leader in chip design, it still lacks in large scale semiconductor fabrication plants. However, new initiatives are set to change this. The Indian government has launched multiple initiatives to boost semiconductor manufacturing and attract investors. Firstly, India Semiconductor Mission or ISM. It is launched in 2021 with 76,000 crores funding. It aims to develop semiconductor and display manufacturing facilities. It focuses on supporting startups, R&D, and skilled workforce training. Secondly, Production Linked Incentive Scheme. It provides financial support to semiconductor companies setting up fabs in India. They cover chip design, compound semiconductors, and semiconductor fabrication. They also include ATMP or assembly, testing, marking, and packaging. They also aims to make India a global hub for semiconductor production. Lastly, the Make in India and the Digital India incentives. They encourage local manufacturing of electronic components and semiconductors. They promote investments from foreign semiconductor giants, which strengthens the semiconductor supply chain and chip production. To reduce dependency on imports, India is setting up its first semiconductor fabrication plants. Some of the key projects include Vedanta Foxconn Semiconductor Fab. The investment has been made about 1.5 lakh crores. The location is being Dhulera, Gujarat, and the technology is 28 nanometer and above chip manufacturing. The expected launch is in 2026. The next semiconductor fab is ISMC. The investment has been made about 22,900 crores. The location comes Mysuru, Karnataka. Technology analog and mixed signal chips and power electronics. The partner is Tower Semiconductor. Next comes Tata Electronics Semiconductor Unit. The investment has been made about 91,000 crores. The location being in Tamil Nadu, they focus on semiconductor packaging and testing. Next comes HCL and Global Foundries collaboration. They aim to build a semiconductor foundry in India and focus on advanced packaging and chip manufacturing. These projects will create thousands of jobs and make India a key player in the global semiconductor supply chains. With the rise of semiconductor fabs and design centers, there's a huge demand of skilled engineers in VLSI and semiconductor fields. The top job roles in semiconductor and VLSI industry include firstly, front-end design engineer. RTL design, Verilog, and VHDL are the required skills for this role. Secondly, verification engineer. UVM, system Verilog, and functional verification are required to get into this role. Thirdly, physical design engineer. Flow planning and placement and routing will help get into this role. Next, the AFT engineer. Design for testability, scan insertion, and ATPG are required for this role. Analog design engineer. Circuit design and SPICE simulation are required for this role. Lastly, semiconductor process engineer. Lithography, etching, and fabrication are required for this role. Over 2 lakh semiconductor jobs are expected in India by 2030. Companies like Intel, Qualcomm, Micron, and Tata Electronics are hiring VLSI professionals. Skill development programs have been launched by government in partnership with IoTs and NITs. Please do look into them and work on them. India's semiconductor startup ecosystem is rapidly growing, with several companies working on chip design, fabrication, and AI powered semiconductor solutions. The prominent Indian semiconductor startups include Sahasra Semiconductors. They are the India's first OSAT or outsourced semiconductor assembly and testing unit. Secondly, Sakanya Labs. They specialize in 5G chipsets and software defining radios. Next, Signal Chip, India's first 4G/5G modern chipset companies. Mindgroove Technologies. They develop India's first RSICV based microprocessors. And lastly, Stridian Semiconductors working on automotive radar chips. Despite all these mind blowing startups, there are a few challenges for semiconductor startups in India. Firstly, the high cost of setting up a fabrication unit that was around 5 to 10 billion dollars. Secondly, need for advanced R&D and skilled engineers. Thirdly, dependence on foreign semiconductor tools and technologies. Now, let's talk about how a startup can overcome these challenges. Firstly, government funding and grants like PLI scheme and ISM support can help us overcome high cost of setting up a fabrication unit. Secondly, collaboration with global foundries like TSMC and Samsung help us get advanced R&D and D and skilled engineers. Lastly, focusing on niche markets like automotive chips, IoT, and AI helps us in the dependency of foreign semiconductor tools. With the right policies and investments, India can become a global semiconductor powerhouse. India is set to become one of the top semiconductor hubs in the world. With new fabs, government support, and rising opportunities, the future of VLSI and semiconductor manufacturing in India looks promising. The key takeaways include India's transitioning from chip design to fully fledged semiconductor manufacturing. Government initiatives like ISM and PLI schemes are driving the industry. New semiconductor fabs like Vedanta, Foxconn, ISMC, Tata Electronics will boost domestic chip production. Huge job opportunities in VLSI and semiconductor fabrication and chip design are being made. Indian startups are focusing on RICV, AI chips, and 5G modems. If you are an engineer and an entrepreneur, now is the best time to get into the semiconductor industry.